I thought the Arcane Archer Pack would be a fairly simple piece of kit. It says you can craft a bunch of the stuff as soon as you find the first little book or recipe, which is Telekinesis. So simple, it's in the College of Winterhold, job done. However, if you want the full set of arrows, you're going to need to do a hell of a lot of work on Solheim. What you're looking at right now is the soul stealing arrows, and I'm going to show you how to get them. It involves quite a lot of questing and quite a lot of vanilla game content before you can actually access this Creation Club content too. But let's start with the easy ones first. If you head to the College of Winterhold and to the Arcanium, you should find the Telekinesis Arrows research notes as well as an actual book for them. Now, I'd picked up the spell tome, but it's right next to it ages ago, so just go ahead, read it and learn it, and that'll give you access to Telekinesis Arrows. In fact, you should already have a bunch of arrows automatically unlocked if you've got this kit enabled. You'll have the ability to craft bone arrows, fire arrows, ice arrows and lightning arrows. In fact, you're meant to have 5 each of all of them just to get you started. And yeah, I think sometimes these arrows don't offer enough damage what they can have in terms of base stats, but I'm sure there's ways to supplement that. And for archer builds, it's just having a nice big variety in what you're choosing to shoot. If you already unlocked the bound bow, you should be able to find the bound quiver spell time as well while doing these missions, or it might even be random chance in the world, or buy it from a mage merchant and get 100 spectral arrows. You're going to need various salts to craft a lot of these, so like void salts, fire salts, etc. to help make them. I am really perplexed by the telekinesis arrows. Like, I just can't see much of a reason for them. It's probably got to be one of the worst arrow types or ranged combat ideas I think I've ever seen. It may have some properties, I guess, for activating certain switches, but no. Basically, that's what you can do. You use it as a spell, so you activate the spell, then you fire the actual arrows, and they'll stay in the air until you then go and press the spell button again, and they'll release. Like, what possible reason do you want to store up a bunch of arrows to maybe do attack against the creature? Normally creatures are fast moving or moving side to side at least, so wherever you're aiming your arrows, they're not actually going to hit their target if you're just leaving them in midair. But maybe at a push, you could potentially leave it for a big creature that you know is not going to move around too much. But yeah, I'm just really not seeing what use you'd have for these. Let me know if you found something that they're really good for. Okay, to Solheim. Now, I haven't explored a lot of Solheim, and I haven't got one of my mod packs that gives me all the fast points. So bear with me here as I show you some locations. But we're going to be exploring some Dwarven ruins. This content is meant to be for like over level 25. It's meant to be quite advanced, and it is tough. Like, you've got a lot of higher tier Dwarven machinations in here. They're really tough to beat sometimes, especially if you're low level. So it's definitely not recommended to do this early game. And it's just a bit weird that they would put one of maybe the better items is so far into the game technically where you're meant to maybe go and get them. Like I said, you can go here lower level, but it's going to be pretty tough. So you need to head to Kagames, and that's where we're going to be taking part in the first stage, and then going to be going northwest to another Dwarven area too. But first at Kagames, go ahead and pull the lever so that you go down. You'll basically find a bunch of bandits, and in these bandits you'll take care of them. One of them will have a couple of special stones. You need 4 of these special stones to activate doorways and entranceways to proceed through the rest of the dungeon. But some of these stones are really hard to get to, hence why this mission or this quest or this creation content is just a bit weird. It's basically a huge time sink going and getting some of these stones. Now, supposedly you're meant to get 5, but you can only get away with actually doing it with just 4 of them. And there is a trader at Tier Mirnef that you'll be able to buy one of them as well. But let's not get a bit too ahead of ourselves. Let's take out these bandits and I'll show you. On one of the bodies you will find the Kagames resonance gems. Make sure you do read the actual notes on this as well, and it will help you out a little bit. So it's back outside now, and now we go northwest to the other next stage, and this is a huge dungeon before we even do this next big dungeon, before we can actually proceed. Balthaz is the name of the location. There will be some Reeklings guarding the outside of it, and here it is on the map. I'm sorry I didn't have the fast point unlocked at this point, but I did forget to actually take a proper look, but you can see where it is. Once inside you'll find a few more Reeklings, and you pretty much got a tilted cavern, which I thought was pretty cool as you wind your way all the way down. Eventually you'll make your way to a room that's got this console, and they pretty much activate a whole bunch of traps, so be very careful when activating them. I pressed all of them just to show you guys, but I'm going to let you know which ones you should be pressing. It's also worth pointing out a few things as well. You're meant to get this quest by talking to Calcimo, or reading his letter at least, that he sent you, and a dwarven arrow diagram. You also may be guided here if you're completing the Ghost of the Tribunal quest line too. So in that sense, it kind of all just about makes sense that you'll get a few of these while going through all these dungeons, but they're pretty tough and pretty long, involving lots of puzzles. You also own the opportunity to get True Flame, which is going to be a brand new blade. Getting confusing, right? There's a lot of things going on, so just bear with us. Let's concentrate on the actual archery pack. We're going through here, we need to open this gate, and there's lots of traps. The one in the top left is meant to open the doorway that you just came through. If you want to get to the next stage, you've got to go and press number 9, which is pretty much the second from bottom on the right. Second on the bottom from left also opens up a doorway that you can open using a lockpick, which has got a chest in it, and that's to the right side of me right now. So that's pretty much all you need to know. The rest are just going to activate traps, so don't press them. So in the next corridor, head to the left hand side, and this is what actually begins the Ghost of the Tribunal quest in this instance. I'm pretty sure you activate a bit earlier. Go through to the forge, and you're going to have to take out this dude, and this is somewhere that you will end up bringing a unenchanted special weapon and a bunch of dwarven gear and items you need to basically enchant it again in the future. That's all part of the Ghost of Tribunal, isn't necessarily for this right now, but I will be doing a Ghost of Tribunal quest line guide in the future, so look out for more details on that. Also, don't confuse the Farblnaz gemstone, which looks a lot like the other ones that we're meant to be collecting. So yeah, lots of mixing and blending here with some of these quests. Has to be said, I'm quite looking forward to doing this though, because Kenro's helmet looks pretty badass. So you could even leave that until later and just concentrate on this one. Go to the next door when you come out of the forge, and it'll lead you further down. Now you see these swinging little pendulums with the blue lights? We're going to be hitting a lot of them, as they're going to activate all sorts of doorways. You can use an arrow, or you can go and smack it with your sword, and as you can see, it opens up the gate. We've got a whole host of new spidey creepy crawlies to deal with here, and lots of oil on the floor, so you could go ahead and roast them maybe, although I don't know if they will die since they're meant to be oil spiders. I mean, they should just combust as soon as any flame hits them, right? Keep working all the way down, and eventually you'll get to another area that seemingly seems locked off. The actual trigger for this one is in the big nest of webs, so you can either use the fireball or hack away at it just like that. Then jump up on the pipe, smack them, and it'll open up the gate to the next stage. In the next little dungeon area, we're going to have some dwarven masters to take care of. Some dwarven spider pots that actually explode with lightning damage when you kill them. And then into the one that gave me a bit of a headache. Yes, welcome to Cog Hell. We've pretty much got to line up a bunch of these walkways so that we can gain access to the final gauntlet chamber. And it's not easy. Lots of dwarven little enemies will pop out of the middle of these cogs sometimes, and we're basically looking for the right hand side. There will be a door to the Farblnaz corridor, and I've been saying that wrong, I know, but hey, it's dwarven, we're not all fluent. Work your way up the stairs, and eventually you'll come through to a corridor that's going to lead you a bit higher over the cogs, and we're going to turn a little thing here, the valve, and that's going to open up a quicker way to get up here in case we do fall down. And now we're going to start spinning some of these around. So that's pretty much one side done. We now need to go over to the other side of the cogs on the floor and activate that one too. Also taking care of these ballista masters, pretty OP. So sticking to the left hand side from the entrance that you come in, or just going directly opposite where you were, you'll eventually work your way up to another doorway. Although don't forget to turn the valve, which is at the end of the corridor here, so you can get back up easy in case you do fall down. So back up, go where you just went past the door and into the boilery. You'll wind your way round, find a few more of the dwarven spiders or masters, and you'll come to this little alcove which has got a bunch of jewels. This is a really good spot to find a lot of these types of things as well, because we all know the dwarves like to hoard. So this one's a bit more difficult than the last. We don't simply have to just hit one of the paddles to open up the gate, we've got to hit a whole bunch of them. And this is where I thought the telekinesis arrow might have to be used. I thought you had to fire the arrows all at the same targets, which seemed pretty difficult anyway, and that would maybe open it up, but that's not the case. It's all about a combination. The book would actually tell you what ones you should be kind of aiming for, but I wasn't paying enough attention. So basically, don't piss about doing what I'm doing, either try and shoot them all individually, because you won't make it and shoot the right ones. It's got to be the right combination, and each time you mess up, either some traps will spawn or more of the dwarven robots pretty much will come and attack you. Like I said, I can be a bit dense sometimes. The idea that you'd have to use all your telekinesis arrows here was a bit fanciful. But after previously just unlocking them, I kind of figured that's what they were for. Basically what you're meant to do is get a pressure of 20, and you can do that by hitting the first one on the left hand side, then go ahead and hit the second one next to it. Obviously I'm still using telekinesis arrows. Then go over to the other side of the dial and be looking for the middle one. Once that's done, that should equal 20 and it'll open up the gateway. You can't overpower them, you can't underpower them, it has to be exactly 20, so I do believe that's the only combination you can do. But it doesn't matter which combination you do them in, as long as you choose them three. With the gate now open, we can now proceed. Again, we've got lots of the dwarven guards in and about these areas. This will open up a short, quick way for you to get back. If you do fall down, it'll open up that gateway there, and that should take you back to where you just was. The doorway will open up to this short little ledge with a lever. Make sure you pull it and you can run along, and we're much higher now than we were before. You can go ahead and jump across the cogs until you get to this lever as well, and we've still not got them completely lined up correctly. If you turn around, you should notice another one of these bad boys, so make sure you spin that and it will move everything around once more. If you're actually quick, you should jump onto that one that I just missed, and that will take you directly to the next dungeon, but I missed my chance. So I had to go all the way back up to the left hand side, all the way through where we just were and where we came out the door where I first pulled that lever there, and this time it was all lined up nicely and I could indeed progress. And when I say the left hand side, I do mean facing the actual entrance where we're meant to be going or aiming for. A ton more oil spiders and albino spiders too, and you should find a raised Diaz where you've got to plant these dynamo accentuators. Now if you haven't brought any along, don't worry. You can get free in this area. There should be another one of them dwarven turrets on the left hand side that you can take down. He'll have one, and you'll notice there's two dwarven guardians standing statue in the little alcoves. You need to go and attack them and get some too. Thankfully you can have a little rest before defeating all three of these dudes, so it's always a good idea to make sure you're fully stocked up, as they can be a bit challenging. Pop the actuators inside and it should open up the stairs, get rid of the guard and open up the gateway. There's a whole ton of gold and other stuff here, and some weapons and arm pieces that again I think are linked to the Ghost of Tribunal stuff. But the most important thing is on the actual table, on the plate, is the Kagames Stone that we need. On the left hand side you'll find an exit lever that will take you up to Skyrim or Valheim. Then it's straight to Tel Mithrin in the southeast. Just to the northwest you'll find this trader who I've shown you guys before, as he's involved in another creation kit content. He'll have one that you can buy. It's quite a bit of gold though, 1214. Now there is one more stone that you can get, but it does involve completing more of these dwarven quests, and again it's pretty long. But that is all four now that we needed, so head back to Kagames. And then the main chamber where we obviously fought the thieves in the first place and got two of the resonance stones, we can now start making the right patterns to progress the trials. If you go and take a look at the gateway to the left, it will show you that the pattern is one to the left in the middle and then one to the bottom right in the corner. At this stage you only need two of them, and that should start a little mini event. There's loads of these dwarven dudes here, that's why this challenge is so tough. Not only does it take forever to go through that previous dungeon, you've then got to do this stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's great content. I've been complaining that some of the creation stuff isn't long enough, but I do think that some of this could have been made a bit easier, considering the rest of the arrows are so easy to get hold of. Now you need to defeat every single one of the dwarven machines for it to progress to the next phase, and there should be a doorway that will open up. Inside you'll find a lever, and this will activate one of the spider bots if you want it. I ended up killing it. There's an absolute whole ton of dwarven metal ingots in here as well, so yeah, make sure you bring plenty of followers to carry all your goods. So the pattern for the next stage, you can see it's on a doorway again. It's pretty much in an L shape but missing the middle one. Head back to the main chamber, put the gems in the right slots like this, and it's the second phase. Spouts of fire and a hell of a lot of more mobs, again a really tough one. Take care of the last one though, and it should give off all the traps, and then you can go ahead and run through the doorway that we've been going through to the next stage. So you go through the room that you did have the first lever, then you go through to a second room now that the door's open, and again at this time I learnt my lesson not to attack him. Pattern for this one is pretty much a 5 dice but missing the top right one. This is why you need 4 of them, and this is the final stage. There'll be lightning traps this time, and yeah, it's pretty tough. With lots of ballistas, it is certainly a challenge. With that done, you can now keep running all the way through the corridors, past all the rooms that we've been going in to see what the patterns were, and eventually we'll make it to the end. And then on the table, we'll have the actual stuff we want, as well as a pretty decent bow. There's the Soul Stealer arrows, so great for people that really want to get quick and easy going with souls. You have to just pretty much have it as the killing blow. And that has got to be the most longest mission I've seen or quest for something that is relatively so minor compared to everything else that's part of it. I guess that's the idea. Maybe they're a bit OP, hence why they've locked them behind sort of end game content here. Let me know your thoughts on it. Follow it all the way round, eventually you'll come to little chairs overlooking an outlook, and this is where you jump down to where the original altar was, and you can go ahead and make your escape. The Dwarven Black Bow of Fate gives a 50% chance for attributes to absorb 25 points of health, stamina or magic. And that is it. That is all of the arrows that you need to know about now. You should be able to craft telekinesis ones, these whenever you want, as well as obviously all the rest. Let me know what you thought about that quest. Will you be completing this if you are a archery master, a specialist assassin, thief? Let me know what kind of playthrough you're doing and why this bow or this particular set of arrows is going to be needed. Until next time, ratbags, laters.